Proud to welcome 10-year NHL veteran, host of Game Notes, co-producer of the Sidney Crosby Audible, along with pigeon-faced beauty. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Exponent Energy.
Thanks for coming, Colby.
Oh, fuck, I got the Audible shout out. Yeah, thanks for that. No one ever gives me that praise for that. I got my name worked in to be, what was it, co-producer?
Yes, at the end, co-producer, they were shouting out some people from CAA, Pat Brisson.
Oh yeah,
Merles was in there.
Yeah, Merles was in there. I think Witt was in there.
So how did that all come together? Because there's some pretty unbelievable stories that Sid's parents tell and family tell, and I can't believe I only heard it like a month ago, but it's been out for a while. Tell me how that came.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. I actually listened to it right when it came out. I didn't know anything about it. Apparently, it had been in the works for like years, I guess, years. But it's pretty much audio documentary of his rookie season and his lead up to that. So his life up until his rookie year.
And I think they've been trying to get him to do it forever. And Sid's like tough to nail down, you know, like he's focused. He's a freak. I call him the creature. But yeah, they finally got him to do it. And he said he would. This is what I heard. Fuck, I don't know. He said he would only do it if I was like doing the interviews. So like I sat with him. I'm like, dude, just go in your basement, put the mic up to your mouth, lay down. Put the mic like on your chest and then like put on your screen so you and I can see each other, and I'll do the same thing and we'll just have a jaw wag, you know, just get it out. And I'll just ask you all these questions they want me to ask you and we'll just talk about it.
Well, when my business mind went going, whoever got the rights to do that's amazing, but I was thinking maybe you could introduce me to Sid this week and I could get his last year rights. And then in 50 years, you know, just set up my family and
yeah, it was a company called Blue Duck Media, actually. I didn't even know about them until this happened, and they kind of put it together. They're hired through other like Amazon and whatever, but they're the production crew that did it. It sounds so cool. If you haven't listened to it, I recommend people check it out. Like amazing. They put like sounds of like skates on ice and like sticks on pucks, and like at certain scenes you can hear like crowds cheering, and like they kind of implement all this thing. Yeah. So it's like it's a cool experience listening to it, but the stories are great. His parents are great. I put in, I don't know how many hours with Sid. I think they had him booked for like 14 hours of it. And we used up every second of that.
For me, it was the Flyers. I mean, I don't think Lukas or Sean listened to it. I told them to do the research, but I guess they don't care.
It was an impromptu.
We're just going to fly.
Actually, Lukas is a Flyers fan, and they talk about the matchup with Hatcher, where Hatcher sticked him in the face, and he was pissed, and he came back and won that game. But that was a pretty incredible story.
I was at the game. I was a fan at the game.
Drinking beer.
It was great. I was crushing beers in the stands. It was awesome, and I just happened to go down for that. That's like ingrained in my head as like I think Sid's one of his like big moments in the NHL. And none of these guys have to go through what he did. Like McDavid, he got hit, broke his collarbone, but yeah, okay. But like coming up when everyone was 225, 6'4", cross-check kings, and like it was just a different game that it's kind of moved into. And he had to battle, you know, Hatcher and the Flyers a lot, and it's hostile territory. That was in Philly too.
Yeah, that was a whole chapter.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great moment, I think, in his career because it just shows how big of a competitor he is. His teeth are chipped, his mouth's bleeding, he's swearing and yelling at refs. And
he won the game in overtime now.
And then he gets the puck on a stick in OT, and he's all alone and buries it and just buries all the Flyers fans. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it was a great moment. It was a great. It's a great little. I've never sat down and listened to other than like a murder mystery thing, but if you're into that stuff, you should go listen to like Sid, and it's a cool story about him. My brother works for the Flyers now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's director of player development there. So
yeah, hopefully we can get it turned around like it was back.
Yeah, buddy, he's working on it. They're working on it right now.
It's a pretty exciting season for you.
I think they've made some good moves, and obviously they had the situation with Cutter Gauthier, and how that turned out.
It's interesting how their media handled that. Like they were like defending the Flyers' honor. Like they stick together out there, eh?
Yeah, they got like I love Jonesy. He's a great guy. Danny's awesome, like cool, calm, collected ex-player. Just a great guy, cares about people, does it right. And he's been great to my brother. So
Well, and I think initially, like with the hiring, a lot of Flyers fans are probably a bit skeptical just because they always go with former players. It seems.
Well, that's been the narrative there, right?
Yeah. And like sometimes it hasn't worked out. But
they're like, we need new guys, we need new faces, we need new ideas, and then they're like, here's ex-players again. Yeah, exactly.
I know. But it's.
I think they've got a good plan and a good vision. I think Torts has been, great.
Yeah, I
think great for their group and the Tippett contract, and
I love that contract.
Yeah,
he's been performing.
Who's your favorite coach ever?
I've only had like majority of my time is Michel Therrien. To be honest, I had him 3 years in the minors, 3 years in Pittsburgh, Minesies, and then 1 year in Montreal at the end of my career. So I had him like majority of the time, and he was hard on me, but he probably is my favorite coach. Brent Sutter was pretty good. Red Deer Rebels, shout out.
Shout out Connie.
Yeah, shout out to Connie and Brent and the Sutters and Red Deer. He was awesome though. Like he at 16, 17, 18 got me ready for pro hockey. Like it was awesome because he just quit playing and took over and bought the Rebels and took it over. So, I mean, I got lucky. I got really lucky.
So you like someone that's hard on you? I mean, there's kind of two different types of coaches, right? There's a guy that's kind of
player's coach,
player coach, where he's hey, do this.
Yeah,
he does it in a monotone sense. And there's
you know what, my assistant coaches can kind of try to be my friend and get to know me a little bit. I like that. That's their job to kind of know how I tick and like, see when I'm down and pick me up. Yeah. That's what I think an assistant coach's role kind of is, dealing with the player.
Did you ever think
I'm fine with not being friends with the head coach.
Did you ever want to get into
coaching?
No,
I maybe an assistant coach. But I think it'd be a challenge to be a head coach every day and come in and kind of set the tone and be like the guy with his hands on the wheel that has to like.
Do you picture yourself as with a position in hockey like in hockey ops, like manager or?
No.
You're happy with?
I'm happy what I'm doing. Like I think a lot of.
It's not like you have more than one job right now.
Oh, I have so many jobs. I'm everywhere. I feel like right now, but it's like
agent or.
No, yeah, I don't know. I like what I'm doing. I got to say, it's been a lot of fun. I'm just proud and happy I'm still in the game. I can't change a light bulb or fucking work a screwdriver or do anything. Yeah. So it's, I'm pretty lucky. I get to be around the game, something I've known and done my entire life. And I don't like I think when you start to do that and you get into that, and this is why, some of our big dog guys, like a lot of them aren't coaching or whatever, is you're pretty much grinding for contracts.
It is hard, right?
You're hired to get fired. You got to move place to place again. Like it never stops. So you're in that the whole time. Like for me, I live in Pittsburgh now. Yeah. I fly into Toronto. I fly into Atlanta. I fly in for a job somewhere, and I can go home.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little more challenging when you're living that life. So for me right now, 4 kids, I'm happy. It's great. It's been great.
One thing I remember, I think Sid said, I don't know if it was in the audible or not, but obviously he's a superstitious guy. But he said a lot of his superstitions were actually based on things you did. Like you're throwing bottles in a garbage can, like, I'm going to get 3 goals tonight. Like.
No, and the thing is you throw it until it goes in. Too.
Oh, I know the game.
It's like it takes forever. I'm sure everyone's.
I know the game. I'm going to be the next fashion mogul. It's like about 15 years.
Yeah.
We get.
Wasn't there someone was telling a story about he played a song.
Oh yeah, that was Joe Vitale.
And Sid came over and said, "Hey, that's a really good. I like this song." And they won the game. And then he played the same song.
It was a story about where he heard the song.
Same day.
Yeah, he kept coming over and they kept winning. It was like 11 games in a row. He would come at the same time when the song came on and tell the same story. It was Joe Vitale. I think he told that story on a podcast somewhere. Maybe it was Chicklets, but.
Did you have any crazy superstitions as a player?
Nothing crazy like
my
that.
Stick.
Like I got sucked in. I had a couple dumb things I did with my stick. You guys probably did it too, playing. It's like I had my stick. I'd use my backup stick in warm-ups to let my game stick think about it.
But did you have your blade up top or on the
No,
ground?
I didn't know. I didn't think about that. I don't even know what I did.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have no clue.
I feel like that's like a big thing every player does. Like some players have their blade up right when you're on the bench, and some have their blade down on the bench.
Well, I talked to Mark Stone about that because he has that big fat knob.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's like gross. It like matches.
That's what people say about Sean.
And he's like really crazy with his cellies with like his knob up in the air. He does all these weird things.
Brutal knob.
Brutal. Yeah. Like, and I asked him about that. I'm like, what's up with your cellies and like your knob thing and like holding your stick all weird? And he's like, I don't like it touching the ice, or I don't like it touching the ground because it's like people spit and hawk loogies down there. So he always has like his butt end up, and he's like, I guess without saying it, he's like a germ freak. He doesn't want any yuckiness on his like
Howie
big
Mandel.
fat knob. Yeah, he's like the Howie Mandel of hockey, man.
Any crazy?
Pretty smart though.
Like tape job stories. Like who's got the craziest tape job you've ever seen? I remember Eric Cole used to have a pretty crazy one. He used to put like a strip. And like I coach, so like if a guy comes on the ice without tape, it drives me nuts.
I wasn't super particular. I wouldn't tape over the toe, then use the scissors. Like it wasn't clean. I would crumple the corners down at the end. It was pretty simple that way.
A guy that
I would do the butt end coily thing though, like old school style.
Oh, I love.
Do you know anyone that did like
Sid does that? Sid does it.
I played with a guy. I played with a guy that went from toe to heel and then heel to toe. He taped it twice.
That's
yeah. Have you ever known anyone that did anything like that?
No, I knew some.
And
like
he was
the
good.
Euro,
Like he drafted 7th overall. Like he was.
Yeah, the Euros did toe to heel, which I found weird to watch
that is
initially.
Weird. Yeah,
I think that was the way they did it, because the way the puck comes out. I don't know, but like we were always taught heel to toe.
Yeah, I feel like I've tried toe to heel and I just feel like I can't even tape it like
just
that.
That young generation, though, they just kind of, those young guys do it.
But Lukas had feet for hands, so I mean, that kind of makes sense.
I don't know who you were watching, but
Colby, we've heard a lot of really cool like stories from Wilkes-Barre and Pittsburgh, and obviously you've made a lot of great friends. What's it been like now transitioning and doing game notes? That whole crew is basically from Pittsburgh, and I wanted to lead that to and going to Atlanta. I know you took Eric Christensen with you, but other than that, you've talked about Atlanta, and you guys filmed TNT in Atlanta. Do you think they have a chance to rebrand this team and do it right again? Do you think they're the best fit for the next team?
Good question. I always thought start with Atlanta. I always thought Atlanta they could have done a way better job. I think maybe ownership that was in there at the time didn't do a good enough job to market hockey in that area in the South like that. They own the basketball team as well and the hockey team, and it was kind of like an afterthought when I think it needed a little more attention.
Well, you mentioned the bird cage and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, hilarious. I had a lot of marketing ideas when I was there, and my dad would come down and visit. My dad loves hockey, and I'm like, my dad's like, what the hell?
What were some
is
of the
I
want to know some of the marketing.
Oh, they had I guess
after.
before I got there, they had the passports, and I guess you could come in there, and they tried to make it like you're going to another world. And it's they called it Blue Land, and then they had this slogan believe in Blue Land. And I don't know, I was like, what the hell?
You gotta get a killer bird in there.
Inspiring completely. What are we doing here? Yeah, and then I wrote an email after my first year there. I'm like, I got all these ideas. I just sent it in to somebody that I knew with an email address with them. And I was like, hey, we need to fucking get this going here. Believe in Blue Land is no one's believing in this.
Yeah.
We need to get it badass. There was a flame throwing thrasher bird, and then they would blow fire out of its mouth. But it just did it when we scored a goal. There's no pump around it.
No
it was
pizzazz.
I want to make it a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Nickname our rink the bird cage. I said, and have a death bird call rah! Something that's crazy, and then market our team around that a little bit about we're this crazy hockey team, kind of idea, and try to pump it up. I sent all these ideas. I never got a response. No. I don't know why I even
So
did
you
that.
get a phone call, say, hey, Colby, we want you to be the general manager of the new Atlanta Thrashers team.
You have no interest?
What are you going to say?
Oh, yeah. I tried to be yeah, let's do it.
Well, I could see one day.
But then you can make some decisions.
Well, I got married there.
We're only going to make $7 million, but
Man, I got married there. My kids were two of my 4 kids were born there. I still have dear friends as neighbors that were from there. It was a great spot. The people are friendly. The food's great. Cost of living is awesome. I think it's going up now. It's becoming, bigger and bigger of a city. Traffic's kind of tough, but if you put it in the right spot, downtown Atlanta is not that's where the rink was. It's no one goes down there.
Yeah.
It's just it's tough to get to. But I think if you put it in the right spot and you market it correctly to people down there, because where we practice in a place called Gwinnett, which is 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, and they had the Gladiators there, which is East Coast League team.
Yeah.
And they, I guess, got majority of the fans, and majority of people thought. I had a guy at the mall there. The only time I got recognized walking around, some guy's man, are you Colby Armstrong? I was like, yeah. I'm like, what's up?
So
He's
excited.
oh man, do you play for the Thrashers? I'm like, yes, I do.
Finally.
Oh my God, you're amazing. And the guy's like, well, man, at the end of the conversation, he's like, man, I hope you make it to the Gladiators one day. That's what he said to me. I'm like, buddy, that's 3 leagues below.
Yeah.
That's way out there.
Well,
but they didn't know. He just thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
Their team was great.
So you did like it,
yeah.
Obviously, but my dad's friends with Clay Buckberger, and he would tell us a couple stories about guys playing in Atlanta, and he just said it was crazy, the gangs,
yeah. There's some.
It's guys don't want to. I don't know if we'll.
I was in
change now.
Yeah, but when we looked it up, it was only Atlanta was only. They stopped playing in 20.
When was it?
13 or something
13?
like
Yeah,
that?
when they
I
went
thought it was way
back to
longer
Winnipeg.
than that. But
I'm a Winnipeg Jets alumnus now, pretty much. So
And what's because okay, I see.
yeah,
I see.
I tied it in. I find a way around everything.
And
buddy.
what type of alumni events they put on for you? Over
I
there?
don't know. I haven't been there
should we
yet,
bring in
but
a
I keep
special
claiming it.
guest?
Maybe what's that?
Should we bring in our special
Sure.
We have a
guest?
special
maybe?
guest.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're gonna love him.
we've heard a lot of cool things about Wilkes-Barre. We've heard a lot of cool
I
things
love
about Atlanta,
Wilkes.
but obviously we want to talk Toronto. You guys ready back there?
Okay, so Colby, one of your most memorable moments as a Leaf was when a fan threw a waffle at you.
Yeah, it's one of them.
We hunted down that fan, and we have him here, so we're going
Shut
to bring
up.
him out so you can finally confront him.
Is that the guy for real? Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Go.
You son of a... Oh, buddy. It was me. I'm sorry to admit it. It was me, but you're here, and it was me. What's up, Colby? How are you, buddy?
Illuminati. The fucking Illuminati.
So
You wouldn't do that.
So, in honor of that infamous night against the Flyers in 2010, we're now going to have waffles with Colby Armstrong to commemorate what was one of my favorite Maple Leafs fan protests, I think. And there was a lot back in the day, right? Or get a little.
You dump it on there.
give him a little crumb, that piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite Leafs fan protests. So that was a really dark period.
Let's go all in on it.
Really dark period there in Maple Leaf
How old were you?
history. I was 10, so it wasn't me. I was watching on TV.
It was your dad.
That's right. It was my dad. Yeah,
Now you know where he got it from.
that's right. Yeah,
It
but
was crazy. It was crazy.
no.
I just feel like our teams weren't good. Like we were okay, but we weren't like playoff teams. Obviously, we were kind of in the hunt for a little bit the 1 year that
Yeah.
I was there, and then fell off at the end.
MLSE just would not rebuild properly. After the salary cap was implemented, they wouldn't commit to a long-term rebuild, and they just kept sort of trying to retool every year.
Yeah.
And they would bring guys in like yourself, ton of guys in.
What a slight.
Yeah.
No, it's not a slight though.
Hey,
That's it.
don't.
They just bring
Hey,
in random
I want to tell you to go fuck yourself without telling you to go fuck
it's not a
yourself.
slight. Every year they'd be bringing in 4 or 5 free agents every year, and they wouldn't commit to
Like
tearing
my
the team
year, who
down.
was it? There it was like me, Versteeg,
For beauty.
for Buttes,
Yeah.
Great.
Lupul,
A ton of guys that were
complete-
traded.
What about
a lot of guys.
Panakarovsky?
Komisarek,
That was that year too. We had,
Kessel, Bozak. Bozak was one of the only homegrown guys.
yeah.
So interesting about that Leaf era. I think that was the most Saskatchewan-born players that have ever been on a single Leaf
Really?
team. Okay, so
Shenner,
here's a trivia question for you and everyone else.
Keith Ollie.
6 Leaf.
He's already going.
He's already got 2. 6 Saskatchewan-born players were your teammates. Obviously, yourself was one. You just said Keith Ollie.
Shen,
You said
Luke.
Shenner. Who are the other 3?
I should probably know this.
They sound like great guys.
Clarkie MacArthur.
Clarkie. Yep. That's 4.
He's a great
Running
guy.
through it. I'm running through it in my head. Who was there?
You want a shot?
Give
You want
us
a
some
shot of
tips.
syrup for inspiration?
yeah.
What was Colton Orr there?
So one of them.
Orsi's Manitoba.
No, Orsi's man. Yeah. One of
I'll
them
just fuck myself.
didn't play.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah,
down,
I don't
came
know if
up.
he was a regular.
Defenseman.
Tell us, Frank. We only got him for 10 more minutes.
One of them was Carter Ashton.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Saskatoon guy.
Yes.
What the fuck? I'm
Yeah.
from Saskatoon.
Yeah, and the other was who have we said?
Get your
you
little
said
paper out.
Shen,
Shen.
Bozak,
I didn't say Bozak.
Bozer,
Bozy.
6 Saskatchewan, and
Yeah.
Joffrey Lupul's from Fort Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
which
yeah.
is Manitoba.
And
Yeah.
Joffrey Lupul's been
That's
200
Alberta.
trips
Alberta.
Saskatchewan.
Or sorry,
Alberta.
Alberta. Excuse me. Yeah,
Like an Edmonton guy.
yeah, but that had to have been the most Sask guys on a Leaf team.
I feel like this. Like, look at Golden Knights. They're like all Manitoba, Saskatchewan, like BC, Alberta. They're all Western guys, and their team just like is pretty deep, pretty stacked. I think that you have to have, if you're gonna win, you have to have a few guys like that in
Yeah.
there. I think if your team's good enough and you need to spice it up, you got to get some Western League guys in there.
What Leaf fans would give to have you in your prime on their team right now?
They kind of
Prime
did, but I got
Colby.
hurt.
Well, yeah, you ended up, dealing with
Yeah,
all
Colby,
types
how
of
many
injuries.
Oh,
injuries
it's
How many injuries
crazy.
did you have
Yeah.
with the Leafs? Just quickly, so
Buddy, I
fans can remember. It was crazy.
Broke both my feet the 1 year.
Can you break your hands?
I
dude?
broke my hand. My tendon broke off of my knuckle. I don't even know how that happened. I'd have surgery. Got a high ankle sprain. Horrible. I thought I lost my leg. And then I got a concussion. The first time ever in my life I had a concussion where I was like out, and I was out for like 3 months.
You didn't tell.
And
It was brutal.
I read somewhere that you hid that. Is that true?
I didn't hide it necessarily. I just didn't know what was happening.
Right, okay.
To be honest with you, like
Right.
I got, it was a Hockey Night in Canada game. I got hit. The next day, I was kind of feeling weird. I didn't know what it was. Kind of. It was, but I was like, oh, maybe it'll go away the next day.
Yeah.
So, because I've never had a concussion before. And then the next day I came
They're
in
not
for
real.
morning
That's
skate.
what my dad told me.
I came in for morning skate the next day and I was still kind of like foggy, but nothing crazy. I was just like, I just felt tired, like weird. And then I went on for morning skate and I was like a debacle. I couldn't like,
That's scary.
yeah, it was just like my brain couldn't like keep up. And I was like, what the hell?
Did you tell any of your teammates, like, guys, this is what's happening to me right now?
No, I didn't. And then I got home and I was like in a panic mode. I'm like, so we had to play that night. And I was like, I can't play tonight. Called the trainer, said I can't play. And that's how that happened. And it was kind of a debacle at
Talk
the
about
time
a
because
buzzkill topic, Frank.
No, this is.
Did you ever?
Oh, this was one of
do
my,
you
it's like
remember
my
your
story,
most?
man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
Do
no,
you remember your most memorable hungover hockey game? Do you have one? Like, is there one that comes
I'll
to
say
mind?
this. I'm a horrible hangover guy. Like every guy that has played with me will tell you. I've like I can't even function. So I didn't.
Does this happen often?
I'm not old school. I'm not like your old man's era. I couldn't do it. I couldn't have hung with those boys at all.
Yeah.
Like I was not in that. And I was lucky enough, back to the Sid stuff, to like come in and be around him and see how crazy he was about like being ready to go.
Was he playing guilty?
No, this guy's a fucking machine, bud. He's a machine. He's ready, like dialed, pro.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky enough to kind of be around that to, you know, give you the idea of like how it should be done.
That's incredible. That's a big deal going from that apartment in Wilkes.
Oh, buddy, hey. How about
if you
that?
Ask your most hungover game. You don't have to tell us, but is there a game that comes to mind?
Better not have been as a Leaf.
No. I don't know. Like I wasn't like crazy like that night before.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Are you hungover right now?
No.
Excellent.
I'm
Thanks for
good.
that.
You know what?
We're gonna be
All-Star
hungover
game?
one day. It's just not.
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
today.
Yeah, that's your line. Yeah. I'm a bad hangover guy, so every time I'm scared, I'm going to feel like crap the next day, man.
Yeah.
But I have 4 kids. And so my wife, her parents came in, are watching the kids, and she came up. So I had a date night with my old lady last night.
Where'd you
boys.
take her?
Oh, nice.
Took her to Jacob's Steakhouse, real classy, nice steakhouse.
Maybe we can go there later. Jeff.
Yeah, it's nice. You
Nice.
guys, yeah, you should do it. It's a good
Need a
spot.
Yeah.
sponsor bad.
Yeah.
Jacob's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Fire him up.
All right, we'll put
Yeah.
it out there.
Did
So
you have
we had
to-
a little date night away from the kids for once, because if I'm not working, gone, I'm home driving kids around, like just living
Yeah.
on the edge almost. It's like crazy. So
Did you have
that's
waffles at the steakhouse?
they don't have that.
You didn't get any
no.
Eggo waffles?
So thank
no?
you. Yeah, thank you
I'm
for
sure
bringing
you're
it.
dying for one now that
Frankie.
you came in Toronto. All the
The
flooding
Illuminati,
memories.
boys.
Did the
You never
waffle
forgets.
Did the waffle actually hit you?
It hit my stick, I think.
Okay, so it didn't actually hit you.
It didn't actually hit me. I think I don't know if you watch a video. I think it landed like on. Honestly, I was skating like at
Yeah.
the whistle, and I think it like hit on my stick.
One individual waffle.
Yeah, one like flopjack.
But there were multiple waffles thrown. One of them did hit Francois Beauchemin.
Yes.
and that was the real reason that he landed on long-term IR.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of anything else. That's
Didn't
how they
somebody
put
get
him on.
arrested? Did somebody get arrested for
Frank's
for
dad.
that?
Yeah, it was my
guy
dad,
got
yeah.
suspended.
It's my dad,
I
yeah.
think he was never allowed to come to like
Yeah.
a hockey game again, right?
Right. So I came up with a list of reasons why it was a waffle, and I want you to
Yeah,
maybe
why?
give me what do you think the most plausible? Because a fan could throw anything, right?
Skittles.
Fan could have thrown everything. It's a cost-effective thing to throw away,
Trying to think.
unlike a jersey that has been thrown. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I get it from that perspective. But
You got some items for us?
here's some reasons I came as to maybe why it was a waffle. Do you think the fans maybe wanted you to have a balanced breakfast? Could that have been it? Maybe.
That's good.
Some of your teammates were doing a lot of waffling on the ice that year.
Okay, yeah,
lot of
maybe they
waffling.
tied it
I
in.
think that was probably
that
it.
was like their lingo, their slang term, and they
Yeah.
just went with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I did a little research. In 2010, which was the year this happened, there was a listeria contamination with Eggo waffles. So maybe if fans wanted to try and get the team sick.
Oh, it was like a protesting thing though to draw more attention to
Higher draft
listeria.
picks.
No, I think
New roster. They wanted a new roster.
Oh, they wanted us to tank.
they wanted the current players to eat the waffles to get listeria so they could be sick. So
That's like
could that be maybe?
terrorist shit.
Yeah, I know, right? Waffles rhyme with awful.
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe no. I want to know what you think.
He's
the-
asking.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And the other
we
one,
never really found out. We never really knew. We never
Yeah.
really heard.
now another one here. This is kind of deep, but so there are 20 squares on the Eggo waffle. Can we get the box? I go Waffle
loose
Talk?
one here.
You guys can.
Is it a full one? So there's 20 squares there, right? And what number did you wear in Pittsburgh?
20.
Right. So maybe there's a little Illuminati conspiracy there. Yeah.
Very on brand.
Yes.
You know what?
So that's what I got. Yeah.
To tell you the truth,
Yeah.
you would know this better than me, maybe, but I think, was it Hagman? He wore 9, right?
Yes, he wore 9 left-handed. I know the way every player shot in the history of the
But-
NHL.
Except for the one
Jesse
guy
knows that
last
well. Hagman, I don't know where he shot, but okay. Maybe.
Was that what his name? Hagman?
Nicholas Hagman. Nick Hagman. Yeah.
Yeah, he played for the Leafs for a few
He had a
years. He
quick
wore
cup,
9.
Yeah.
And then I came in later. I wore 9, but I had to ask for permission because it was an honored number because
yeah.
Ted Kennedy,
Ted Kennedy. Yeah.
and someone else wore it too. I forget his name.
Another old school guy.
2 guys wore 9, legendary Leafs. The number was honored. So I came in, I wore 9 in junior. So I wore 20 in pro because when I got to pro, they just gave me 20. I
Yeah.
never picked it.
Oh,
I don't
cool.
even know why I got it. But
Yeah.
it kind of became my number. But when
Yeah.
I went to the Leafs, I'm like, you know what? Signed as a free agent, I always wanted to be 9.
Yeah.
But it's a hard number to get, but it's really regal.
dirty,
It's like a
Korea.
pretty regal, like awesome hockey number. So I had to ask permission, they told me,
From
the
who?
trainers.
Did you go to Richard Petty for that
No,
one?
so I asked like Berkey or something. They said, you got to ask them. So I was like, hey, I have a request to wear 9, just letting you know, think about it, let me know what you guys think. I know it's an honored number, which I didn't know about at the time coming in.
Yeah.
And he got back to me. He's like, yeah, okay, we gave you permission. You can wear 9.
Aw.
But it was so weird because the amount that I got hurt when I listed my injuries before the Illuminati rolled in,
Yeah.
I was sitting in the press box for a lot of those games with like Ted Kennedy's banner, number 9, like right in front of me. And I'm like, I'm fucking cursed with this 9. It was like,
Ghost of Ted was staring at
yeah,
you in the rafters.
I was just like, that's how I tied. That's my
Yes. This is what you
conspiracy.
get, you prick, for wearing my number.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn. And I asked if I could switch my number, and they are like, no, we can't switch it now. You're
Yeah.
already in it. So I'm like, ah, shit. I got this like, they're the ghosts are getting me for this, and
Maybe.
I believe I was the last player to ever wear 9 because soon after that, yes, it was an honored number, but then they decided they're going to retire everybody's
Yes.
numbers that were honored. So forever was gone. So I might have been the last Leaf
The last
to ever
Leaf
wear
to
9.
wear a
That's a
retired
sick
number,
number.
maybe. I wonder if you're the last Leaf to wear a retired number, period.
I don't know if any other guys, wore honored numbers.
Colby,
I don't know.
It.
Look,
I'm on it. I'm on it, buddy. I'll
That's
check that
actually a
out.
good little
That
skit
would
for
be
ya.
an amazing moniker for you, to be the last guy
The wear 9.
to wear a
Look into that
a
for
retired
me, will
number.
ya?
I'm on it.
I
Don't
think,
worry.
yeah.
I got it.
That'll be your new number 1
If I had to guess,
accolade
though,
over the 21 second.
I will go with the waffling on the ice line.
Probably. Yeah.
it sounds
Thank you,
cheesy enough, unoriginal enough, but it totally made no sense. It was out of left field, so it left a lot of people wondering,
I'm sure the
which
guys.
made it pretty hot in the media and like questions. After the game, they asked me about it, of course. And I chirped. I was like, "Guy sitting in the gold seats, he's chucking waffles. At least throw a fillet." I said that in my interview.
Should have went to Jake's Steakhouse for that fillet. You know?
Don't cheap out if you're in the golds, you pigeon. That's so casual for casual for the Leafs Yacht Club to be throwing waffles.
Oh yes, and missed opportunity, really revenue opportunity for the Air Canada Center at that time. They should have started selling waffles in the concession.
Yeah,
You know?
well, they had Berkey dogs. They could have had.
Yeah.
they could have
They're
had.
not charging enough.
Yeah, I should have jumped on that.
No whipped cream, maybe a couple chocolate chips.
I had other issues to overcome that I wasn't worried about the
Worried
waffles.
about making a waffle
Oh
of
yeah,
bread.
I was trying to.
Hospitality.
At that time, I was trying to take the garbage down to the end of my street at my house without getting yelled at from my neighbors. What's going on with you guys?
That was my uncle, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my god, let me live.
Frank, anything else? Let's get into one more question in, then we'll let Colby
Yeah,
go. We
I
appreciate
mean,
your time so much. Thank you for doing this,
just,
Colby.
Of course, buddy.
Just to kind of build on what you just said, like that is a reality in Toronto. That like when you come here as a free agent, or whether you're a guy that's grown from the ground up, draft pick, like you are getting yelled at when you go take the trash out.
Yeah.
Like you are you're under more of a microscope than maybe any other place in the world where they play hockey, and a lot of the time it's negative.
Yeah,
Right?
or they're waiting for something.
They're
the,
waiting.
the ball to drop or the
Right.
shoe to fall, whatever line you
Right.
want to use. But like
Yeah.
when I signed with the Leafs on free agent frenzy, just a master of free agent frenzy. I signed with the Leafs my contract, and I was coming from Atlanta, so I wanted to go somewhere where like hockey was like matters, and I wanted to like, and of course like any market in Canada would be great. But then when I heard the Leafs came asking about me, I was like, oh my god, like I knew what I was getting into. Of course, I'm from Saskatoon. I watch Hockey Night in Canada. I know like I got tons of Leaf buddies. I got Oiler buddies.
And they weren't particularly, I'm assuming, good before you joined, right? Like,
no, they were they were just like
they're mediocre.
They were mediocre at the time. They were floundering team a little bit, and I wasn't so much thinking of like setting myself up in somewhere where it was like that situation. I was just thinking I wanted to play somewhere where they care. And I was like, I want to go somewhere where like hockey's the shit.
It's cool.
And so I was like really excited about coming here. And then like, in camp, broke my foot.
Yeah.
Played with a broken foot. Then a month later, snapped my hand off and had to get surgery. So I was in a walking boot and had a cast on my hand.
Jeez.
Looked like I got in a car accident. And like the ball just kept rolling. And it was like nothing like I pulled my groin or I got like it was just like impact injuries or weird shit that just happened to me. And I've been lucky up to that point through my career. I was like banged up a bit here and there. And I played like hard. Like I was a reckless player. But I wish it would have went a little bit better for me because I think the fans were, even though I didn't play much, I could say this about Toronto. The fans are really good to me.
And I remember when you signed, it was an exciting thing. It was like, fuck, we got Colby Armstrong. This guy is exactly what we need right now. He's going to protect our boys. He's going to throw some hits.
Yeah.
He's going to be
they appreciated my game. They appreciated like my fit. They were excited about what the possibility could be. And even though it didn't go as good, they didn't like crush me, or bury me. Like they still like gave me the space of having some respect for me and my game. So I can say honestly, it wasn't from that standpoint with the fan base and the people. I was like concerned. I was like a letdown, and I would put a ton of pressure on myself with that contract and like wanted to be the guy and do my job properly. And I was just hard not to, but I was pleasantly surprised by like the reaction from the crowd individually, just to me, of like, hey man, thanks. Like, like you worked hard. You're a hardworking guy. Kind of thing, So looking back fondly on it for as rough as it went for me, to be honest.
Most guys don't want to go to Toronto for reasons just like you explained, kind of though. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's different
I know.
maybe from like now, but everybody now wants to go to a place where they're not going to be.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to get guys to want to come and do this now with success of like some of these other teams in other markets, tax-free states and different things like that, where it's
do you think they should create? Do you think the NHL should create like protocols to stop that disadvantage, or just stop that
they're talking about
like should the NHL tax
like professional
the teams
tax
in Florida
break kind of thing?
Yes. Cap should be amendable to state tax, because the reality is places like Florida, places like Nevada, I think Carolina is another tax haven.
Tennessee.
They're not playing with the same cap, because when guys go to sign, they don't give a shit about what the salary cap hit is. They want to know how much am I taking home at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
And in Ontario, you're in the highest
9
tax
bananas.
bracket, and you're paying 53%.
I remember Chris Versteeg when he was here with the Leafs with us.
Yeah.
He's a beauty for beauty. And he
everyone called him for beauty.
he had it written on his sticks. Yeah. I thought that was sick.
Of course he did.
Beauty. But he was with us, and I remember we'd get our paychecks in our stall, and he'd open it up, and he'd be like, "What the fuck? Look at the taxes!
It's crazy.
Holy shit! Like literally losing half your paycheck every time, and just like like a big
53%.
Do you ever have anybody live off of their like per diem?
Oh, pretty
like guys. I heard like guys at 18 years old, they wouldn't even have a bank account. They would just
get envelopes.
They would just have their checks in their house, and they would just live off of the money that they got per diem, like on the road. Like
cash, it was sick. Yeah, you could live off that for a while. But then Versteeg went down to Florida after when he left us, and I remember talking to him that year, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, how's it down there?" He goes, "It's good, man. Sun's out. It's like nice going to the rink every day. It's beautiful." And then he ended it with, "And the taxes are right up my alley."
Of course. Yeah.
And I was like, "What a great line!" Yeah,
right. yeah. And let's look at the teams that have won the Stanley Cup in the last number of years. Vegas, tax haven. Tampa twice. Tax haven, right? And it's becoming more
Florida in the finals,
right? It's like it is not a fair advantage, and all the Canadian teams are up against this. And
well, you guys have Robida Island though that you guys do. Yes. That's just sick.
Keep that quiet, Colby. Come on.
Same as
where is that place, by the way?
Robida Island is Toronto Island. It's just literally right here. The guys get on the ferry.
There's an airport there.
No, it's not even a ferry. That's right. Yeah, they put them on a paddle board. and I'm one of the ferrymen. Actually,
It must be so nice there, though.
It actually is beautiful. Have you been to Toronto Island?
No,
Colby, I gotta take you sometime. It's great. You know, it's a beautiful place.
Great waffles.
Do you know some of the guys that are there? Do you know Klinberg and?
Oh yeah, I'd love to hang out with those guys. Yeah, they're all still there, just hanging out.
Like Castaway.
Hammocks, just hammocks.
Yeah, like Tom Hanks and Castaway. Yeah, they're all just sitting
That's
there
what I
living
picture.
Yes. There's
But
actually
more like elegant and nice.
yes, of course.
Oh, with bigger bank accounts.
and
too.
bigger
Yeah.
bank accounts. There's actually a nude beach there.
Oh really?
Yes,
In real life?
You'd
Yeah,
know.
in real life. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I won't admit it. I'm afraid to admit it. Yeah, I've been there a couple times. Yeah.
You were letting her
Just
hang out.
lurking or
It's
hanging?
good to let it hang out. Yeah.
Were you naked or
Yeah.
clothed?
Yeah, no, I went naked. Guys, girls of all ages. Well, of age, you know.
All ages. Okay, now this is getting a little.
No. I
Listen,
mean,
we're
like
gonna have to cut
18
this
18
part.
plus.
Okay.
Cut that. You know what I mean. 18 plus. Yeah.
All right, Frank.
Rapper.
Yeah, whatever you're into,
Sure, you
man.
don't want to talk more about the. Are you sure you don't want to talk more about the nude beach
I
at
think you
Robert
were on
Island?
Epstein Island.
Oh Jesus! Cut that.
All right, is that Stephen Hawking?
That's right. Well, I did mention that. Well, anyways, we're gonna move on.
All right.
But it's a beautiful place. Yes, so Robot Island, and I'll have to take you there sometime.
How do you feel about your Leaf? Here we go. I'd ask you. How do you guys?
Love this.
How do you feel about your Leafs team right now? I know it's always never ending. Like it's never ending talk. And of course, I spend time with Biz. He's like he's deranged. He doesn't know. He's not clear thinking. He's just drinking the Kool-Aid. But like, where is the team at in your mind, and what do they need? I hear Tanev a lot. We hear certain names
Yeah.
coming up. There's no question. Everyone says D. So what's happening?
Yeah.
Are they a team this year? Are they going to be anything in your mind, realistically?
Yeah. First, I'll preface my answer by saying that I legitimately do think that there is a curse in Toronto. Okay. There is so much negative.
Do you think we broke it with the waffles?
Maybe, yeah. Hopefully, yeah. That would be great. If that's what it takes, I'll eat 100 of them. There's so much negativity in Toronto. The fans, there's a lot of fans. I would say half the fans are incredibly pessimistic at all times. And we are legitimately creating this negative energy in Toronto. It's hovering in the air.
Yeah.
No, this is a real thing. Everything is energy. Everything is energy.
I would say it's true. I would say that is true. And as a player, in times when things were good, we could win a few games in a row or have a good couple weeks, but you can feel the energy,
feel
to
it.
tell you the truth as a player, that like they can't wait for it to drop.
Yes, because there's
It's
more,
such a weird vibe when you're in
Dun,
it.
done.
more
That's
Leaf
Toronto, man.
There's more Leaf haters than I feel like Leafs fans, because there's so many Leaf fans that have been watching this team for so many years, and they're like, I'm done.
They turn into haters.
They turn into haters.
Yeah.
So it's almost like equal balance.
So what's your one move you suggest for the team?
Yeah.
Like, maybe we can pitch this to Shane.
the Leafs-
I think
the
Colby
Leafs
went to
are-
dinner with him last night. We didn't
I
get
took
invited.
my wife out
but
for dinner. The boys went for dinner with Shani last
Yeah.
night.
I got
That's awesome,
gassed.
yeah.
I got
Yeah.
tossed.
Ditched
Oh,
it.
cool. Yeah.
They were talking about dinner. I was just standing there. I was like, I hope I get Colby.
He picks up the tab at that table.
Yeah, he did apparently.
He did. Okay.
Shane.
I think Shani paid
Good
for
guy.
it.
The first thing I'd say to Shani is that you have to lower the ticket prices and the concession prices. Okay, that's the first thing I'd say.
We're charging
Okay?
we're charging $20 for a beer at Rogers
the boys
Place.
to Soto.
This contributes to the no, it's a real thing. This contributes to the negative energy we have in this city. You go to a game,
Yeah,
the
it's expensive.
Leafs lose 4-1 on a Tuesday night,
what'd
and
I
you're like,
pay
oh,
for?
what did I pay for that?
$500.
Lower,
It's a corporate event.
lower it, the ticket prices. An act of good faith for your fan base that has been so blind and so stupid for so many years, and we'll follow this Leaf team off the cliff. Right?
You know what? Lower some ticket prices, and maybe for a big road game, do a watch party and put regular and make it up on that.
Yeah, get in the building for free.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or pay
on-
$20
for a road game.
and you get in for a watch party.
Yeah.
But
Road
you
game.
you kill him on the concession.
Yeah. You're still gonna make some capitalist country. You're still gonna make a little money. right?
Molson Canadian. Molson Canadian. Molson.
Session. But to answer your question, what do they have to do seriously? The
What
Leafs-
would you do? Yeah.
The Leafs. Okay, so the Leafs.
You're in the position you're in. You can't preface it with, what are you going to do?
My heart always says the Leafs are in it, and it's our year. And that's Biz is coming
Oh, yeah.
from his heart and not necessarily coming from his
brain,
head.
yeah.
But I know because I come from there too. Sometimes
Yeah.
the heart. My heart says.
Oh, I've seen you.
The only place you come from is your nuts.
Senior rants on social media.
My heart says we still have a pretty good core of players. And when you get into the playoffs, anything could happen.
Yeah, I
anything
know.
could happen. Joseph Woll could get hot. Fucking Samsonov could get hot. And
I agree.
anything could happen in the playoffs. It's a different game. So a part of me says, nah, this doesn't really matter what we're seeing, and you never know. And then that's my heart. And then my head says this team is not contending until 2026 when Tavares is
that
off the
energy.
books.
Yeah,
okay?
the Tavares off the
When
books.
Tavares
thing
is
is
off
big.
the books. Brody's off the books this year. You're going to have Nyes developing for 2 years. You're going to have Wool and Hill to be maybe developing for 2 years.
What about
So-
Matthews?
Well, Matthews,
off at
Marner, and
2026.
Nylander. No, he's not.
He's
What are you
just
talking
signed
about?
extension.
He signed a 5-year deal.
Stay out of this.
Yeah, he signed a 5-year deal.
Extension,
What are you
bud.
talking about?
Cut
Those
Sean's mic,
guys are
please.
still relatively young, and in 2 years from now, they'll still be in their prime.
Yeah, they're
so
still good with
they
those
need
guys.
to build for 2026.
We're just building again.
We're
Leafs.
just building again.
Leaf fans, you heard it here. The rebuild continues. The build is still on.
It's been going on a long time.
The materials may change. We're waiting for new souped up materials.
Yep.
Hey, Leaf fans, just so you know, the build will be done. There'll be flying cars.
And if it's not done, then I'm going to the game, okay? And I'm throwing more waffles, okay? I'm throwing more waffles. This one is for Mitchie. This one is for Nylander. This one is for Matthews. This one's for Colby.
Okay, Colby, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this. man.
Great surprise.
Yeah.
Honestly, great being here with you guys. Congrats to all you guys on everything you're doing. All-Star Weekend. Congrats to the coolest, the Gretzky pop-up, the fucking gear and fashion, BCLUTCH,
Appreciate
Gretzky's
it.
basement, all the stuff we have going on. And looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll see you around at a few events over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Say hi to the Illuminati if you see them.
Thanks for your time, guys.